India versus South Africa. So let's look at our top three. Typically, South Africa's been a bit of a bogey for India. Day in, day out, South Africa win more matches against India than most teams. They certainly win more matches than India win against South Africa. So where do I pick three games from? I've picked a couple that are very recent. One, you'd imagine, we're going to Gwalior in 2010. The story behind it, of course, is that Tendulkar's coming out of an elbow injury, that tennis elbow. 2007-8, we thought we're seeing the end of Tendulkar. And then 2009-10, he hits a purple patch. That's the closest Tendulkar ever came to being the Tendulkar of the 90s. I mean, if you didn't see Tendulkar in the 90s, you've missed one of the great spectacles of sport, not just cricket. And then he starts to get the runs. He crosses 100, he crosses 150, he inches close to a 200. And then, of course, you know the story. Dhoni's not giving him the strike, but he finally gets that 200 from 147 balls. India get to 401, unheard of in those days. But of course, they're playing in Gwalior. And Tendulkar's probably going back and telling Sehwag, look, wasn't that difficult after all, right? Because Sehwag had told him when he got to 175 in Hyderabad sometime earlier that he'd missed out on a double. Why is this game so important? Because nobody had got a double century before. It was almost considered unthinkable. There was a barrier there, and Tendulkar went past. There'd been 194s, but nobody had got a 200. So that was number one, India, South Africa, Gwalior 2010. Then an absolute classic. You think I'm only going to pick matches that India win, don't I? This is the World Cup game in Nagpur in 2011. Once again, Tendulkar, 111 from 101 balls. He was in fantastic form right through that World Cup, and India are absolutely cruising. 267 for one in the 40th over, and you're thinking, right, 18, 19, the last 10, 340, 350, that should be good enough. And then a wicket falls, then another, then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth, then a sixth. I could go on. India 29 for 9. They don't even play out their 50 overs. Still sort of 295, 296, not a bad score at all. And then South Africa come in, and typically South Africa is not one person going and smashing 150. They get a 50 here, a 50 there, but they still need 127 from 14. They still need 49 from 6. And who gets the runs? Johan Botha, Robin Peterson. Why do I bring these names up? Because the tail scoring runs for South Africa is a big tradition from the time they came back. They always batted deep, whether it was the Boyes and the Simcoxes and the Klusners and the Pollocks. They always batted very deep. It was the depth of the batting that got them through with 2 balls left. And a lot of you would have watched that game and taken away whatever nails you had left at the end of that game. So that was number 2. For number 3, I'm going back a little earlier. I'm going back to the Premadasa Stadium. Many years ago, it used to be called the Khettarama Stadium. It's the semi-final of the Champions Trophy 2002, India playing South Africa. The reputation of missing out on big knockout games is just starting to come in for South Africa. And India made 261. You look at it today and say, nonsense, 261, you can't win. But the Khettarama, it's a sticky wicket. You sweat so much that you actually lose weight by the time the game is over. You think 261 is enough? You think it is enough. South Africa get to 192 for 1 after 37 overs. Herschel Gibbs, I don't know if some of you saw Herschel Gibbs bat. When on song, he could just chase down any target. He chased down 434 that Australia made with that innings of 175. And then all of a sudden, Callis is in the 90s, he suddenly decides, can't bat anymore. It is something that will be held against him even today when you look at his career. When you need to get only 70 odd to win to get into the final of a major international tournament, you don't walk off. Still, you think just 70 to get, right? 8 wickets in hand, you think you and me can get those. Then Yuvraj starts to fly to his left and right to take catches. Sehwag chips in with 3 wickets. The ball is doing all kinds of things. And South Africa choke. Lose by 10. India go through to the final, and then of course India share the trophy because it just rains every alternate day in Sri Lanka. But if you were watching that game as I was, wow, you're on the edge of your seat. So that was game number 3, India versus South Africa.